Welcome back, everybody. This is Careers in Coffee. I'm Dan.
I'm Liz.
Hi, Liz. How's it going this morning?
Good. Yeah, we're just trying to figure that intro out, right?
I kind of have been playing around with it. I don't know. Like, do you sound excited? Do you just do something normal? Is it, I feel like I'm not drinking coffee this morning, but, sometimes I have my coffee. So, yeah, we'll get it down.
Yeah, someone on our team was just sharing there's so many podcasters out there, and what is it? The drummer for the Pork Tornadoes in Cedar Rapids has like one of the most popular podcasts in the nation. It's like something breakfast. I don't know. We'll throw it in the show notes. Just give them some love.
Cool. I'll have to listen to that. That's fun.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, podcasting.
Cool. Well, let's dive right into it today. We wanted to take a little bit of time since we're kind of heading into mid-November here, and wanted to talk about different opportunities for maybe doing freelance or making some money on the side, and or reaching out or talking to those of you who might be thinking, I really don't know what I want to do. And how can I use my skills to go make some money? So one of the trends that I've noticed working on corridor careers over the past few years, and especially like this last year, is the need for digital content creation. Now, I've seen a lot of companies post jobs for things like this, and they call it things like marketing strategist. They might call it a web type based role. It might be social media manager, things like that. But all in all, it is digital creation. And Liz, I wanted to get your thoughts on, especially you have kids that are teenagers. They undoubtedly spend a lot of time on their phones.
Yeah.
Do you think you could, your teenagers could go create content for a company and make money?
Yeah, I don't know. It's possible. I don't know about mine, but I think it's definitely, if you spend a lot of time, I think it's really like if you learn a social media platform, like, and you really understand it. I think it's really when you have, as a user, like total kind of like gotten to understand how a social media platform works. So let's just say we're talking about TikTok. You have to be on TikTok a lot to kind of get how it works. Instagram, same thing, like how do you message people? How do you interact with creators? I'm most familiar with YouTube, actually. That's kind of like the platform that I tend to use the most as far as social media. And some wouldn't consider YouTube social media, but I totally do because of the comments feature. And especially because of all the innovation they've done over the last year to try to compete with TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. But maybe you're more geared towards Facebook, and a lot of small business owners are very much in favor of using Facebook because they know they can get to an audience that they need to get to, but they have no time to create the content that goes on to that platform. And that's where you could come in. So there's definitely an opportunity there. It's just you'd want to make sure that what you produce is on par with something that you've seen. Is it at the same level? Because you're gonna grow over time with those skills, but it is a real job. I mean, doing digital content creation is a full-time job.
It is a full-time job, and I remember thinking 10 or 15 years ago, kind of when I was getting into the workforce, like, why would anybody need a full-time social media person? And it's just like, it's so clear and evident now that, companies have entire departments dedicated to it. And I'll throw out a couple other ones more used for business, and that's LinkedIn and Twitter as well.
Yeah.
Having, there's so many different, I guess, ways to, monetize via LinkedIn and Twitter now, whether that's, and maybe that's a newsletter or email marketing as well. There's so many different ways to reach people and grow your business, that if you have a skill set, and like Liz, you mentioned, you specialize in any one of these platforms, you can go get paid to do what you're good at and market your skills to local businesses.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said that. I've been seeing a coach lately, and her advice was like, do what you're good at and design your life around it. And that just keeps going around in the back of my head. And then you ask the question, well, what am I actually good at? What do I need to design around? So there are things out there like Fiverr.com, and we'll include some links to that, where freelancers can go. And you and I were talking about this before the show, is like, pet services. Like, maybe your skill isn't necessarily a digital content creation, but you could do pet sitting or house sitting. What are some of the other things you talked about, Dan?
Yeah, really good points, especially as we're kind of heading into winter. But if you are ready to get your hands dirty, there is never before, I don't think we've seen anything like this, but there's a ton of baby boomers that are retiring, getting into the upper years of their life, and they just don't want to do some simple physical labor that maybe they were taking care of 10 years ago, right? Before they were retired. Things that come to mind: raking leaves, shoveling snow, washing windows, painting rooms,
painting trim, yeah, right. Painting trim on houses, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Power washing. If you buy a power washer, some of these things require a little bit of capital investment, not more than a few $100. But if you can get good, and maybe you just practice on your own home, on your parents' home, like, hey, can I paint a room and repaint it, or try to develop a skill if you don't have it. And you can easily market yourself. Now, I think if you are going to be going and working inside other people's homes, there's probably maybe a license. You need to do your own research on this. But for something like shoveling snow or blowing leaves to the side so the city can come pick them up, there's no reason I don't think you can make $50 an hour, or charge $50 an hour to do these type of simple tasks that people just don't really want to do. And if you do a good job, you can get referrals, and you could literally just start in your neighborhood with a flyer that says, I rake leaves and mow lawns and trim hedges and shovel snow and go and clean gutters, whatever it is, and you could probably go kill it.
Yeah. No, I know there was a kid in my daughter's elementary school that created a business card for himself that's just like, I mow lawns. And he just did it around the neighborhood. He didn't even have any transportation, so he's just like driving the lawnmower around the neighborhood. Mowing people's lawns.
I love that.
So yeah, it's definitely doable. Obviously, we're moving into the winter months here, so the snow shoveling is definitely going to be the need. Throwing down what do you call that? the ice melt and stuff like that, especially on a regular basis for older neighbors and things like that. There is a lot of opportunity there. And that's also good if you're just like, I don't know what I want to do, but I need to do something. Doing physical labor or doing these kind of odd jobs are a way to just kind of give yourself some space between figuring out your very next step and just taking action. So sometimes it is important to just take action, because taking that action will allow yourself some time and space mentally to figure out, okay, all right, this is what I want to do, or this is what I want to focus on next.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you mentioned like pet sitting there real briefly, and I'll throw something out there. And I want to get your thoughts. Let's say you work from home. You work from home full time, and you want to start a pet sitting service, and you already have a pet. You already have a dog or a cat, whatever. Is there any reason you couldn't pet sit while you're just still working from home and get paid? To literally you already have one pet, just add another pet, and just feed them, walk them, take care of them. I mean, make a little extra money while you're still working your job.
Yeah. As long as you don't have a crazy beagle like I have.
Depending on the pet.
Depending on the pet. So you'll have to look into the licenses and bonding issues again, because obviously, you could start doing it for people that you know immediately, but there may be, if you're going to actually do it petsitter.com or something. Like there's a couple online
Yeah.
ones, Pet Finder.
Rover.
Not Pet Finder. What
Like
is it? Go
Rover.
Rover. Yeah.
Rover app, I know, is one.
There's some requirements, but they walk you through because they want people to sign up to be hosts for the pets. Similarly, the house sitting thing, that I've done that before around the holidays when I was younger, and it's interesting. You're just there, you're not really doing anything, and sometimes the person that you're house sitting for is like, yeah, help yourself to what's in the fridge or whatever, just kind of little weird perks that come with those types of jobs. But yeah, I mean, if you have organizational skills, there are a lot of online short-term personal assistant roles that you could do too. That's another thing. And I don't actually know what's entailed with that, but that's just something I've thrown out there because I know people could occasionally do that. They'll just, if you need a personal assistant for a project or something like that, and it's just like helping somebody make appointments and set appointments or
organize their life.
Yeah. I mean, you're good at that. Great.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Help
me. Cool. Well, that was our topic for today. Liz, anything else to add before we sign off?
Yeah, I think this is a great brainstorming idea, just like think about the possibilities. You've got skills. How could I put them to work? Stay positive about it, and just kind of mull it around in your brain, and use your imagination. There's probably a resource out there. Once you figure out what you might be interested in trying, if you just Google it, you'll probably find something. So
yeah.
And these are just odd jobs to help you get some revenue on the side, so it's not a full-time job.
So interesting. And these are fun brainstorms to have with friends. If you're having coffee this weekend or you're out for a drink with a friend or something, these are fun things to mull over and be like, how about that possibility? What would that look like? How much money could I make doing that?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great one.
All right. You too. Bye.